In this video, we are taking you into the mysterious case of D.B. Cooper, the infamous skyjacker who vanished in 1971 after taking over an aircraft. The story feels like it could have been taken straight out of a bunch of Hollywood heist films. Welcome to a new video of Think First. In 1971, on a day before Thanksgiving, a man going by the name of Dan Cooper boarded Northwest Airlines Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon, with the intention of traveling to Seattle. He looked like a business executive, all sharp and professional in his dark suit and black tie. Since there were a relatively small number of passengers, he intentionally chose to seat in the far back of the plane. With a big, fake smile on his face, he gave a message written on a small piece of paper to a flight attendant shortly after departure from Portland. The flight attendant thought that this man might be flirting with her. She took that note silently and didn't open it. Upon seeing this, Cooper said to her that she should read the letter. He said to her that he is carrying a bomb in his briefcase. Initially, the attendant didn't believe that he had a bomb. So, he displayed the case with red sticks and cables to the attendant. The rest of the passengers on the plane seemed completely unaware of the situation, and the flight attendant was reluctant to disclose any information to them. The hijacker demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 notes, which were communicated to the plane's captain. The pilot informs the air traffic controllers, and the president of the airline receives word shortly thereafter. The president quickly chose to cooperate with Cooper to protect his company's reputation. The airplane circled in the air while the money and parachutes were prepared, which took many hours. 36 travelers and 2 members of the crew departed in return for the ransom once the plane arrived in Seattle. The aircraft then departed for Mexico City with the 4 crew members still on board, 2 pilots, an airline engineer, and a flight attendant. Cooper insisted that the plane descend below 10,000 feet and travel at less than 200 knots. What happens next is completely unbelievable. Shortly after 8 p.m., Cooper descended the steps at the back of the aircraft and sprang out while the crew was in the cockpit. This was a unique feature on these planes back then. Cooper used these stairs and jumped out of the plane with the money and parachutes. The flight attendants in the cockpit didn't see anything because there was no hole in the cockpit door at that time. The plane carried on to Nevada's Reno. As news spread about the hijacking, a reporting error changed the hijacker's identity to D.B. Cooper rather than Dan Cooper.
D.B. Cooper's ticket in the name of Dan Cooper.
Sketch artists painted pictures of the hijacker after the flight. The FBI identified Cooper as a white guy, 6'1" height, 170-175 pounds, age in the mid-40s, olive appearance, brown eyes, black hair, traditional cut, combed on the left. Agents from the FBI gathered evidence, which included 8 cigarette butts and the hijacker's clip on necktie, even though Cooper had not left his ransom letter behind. Additionally, agents conducted interviews as well as ground searches. According to the CIA, throughout the first 5 years, it examined about 800 suspects, nearly all of whom were dismissed. A DNA sample that was later retrieved from the tie Cooper lost before jumping was used to rule out a few. Richard Floyd McCoy was one of the main suspects. He was detained for a related crime a few months later. But in part because he did not fit the descriptions given by 2 flight attendants, he was ruled out as a suspect. According to one idea surrounding the case, Cooper didn't make it through the jump or the landing circumstances. With gusts of 200 miles per hour, he departed the aircraft in the midst of a storm and may not have been able to use his parachute. His parachute was not the kind that could be controlled, even if it did open. Furthermore, it's risky to land in a rough forested area at night, especially if you're a man wearing only a suit, shoes, and trench coat. Even today, this mystery of D.B. Cooper is unsolved. No one knows who D.B. Cooper was, where he came from, or where he went. What do you think? Did he survive the jump he made from such a high altitude or not? Do let us know in the comments below.